What's going on, everyone? It's your average consumer, and today I've got a review for you guys of the Audio Technica ATH-m50x. Now, a ton of you guys love the M50s, but let's see if the M50X is worth your upgrade or your first time purchase. So let's not waste any time. Let's get right into it. Alright guys, here we have some headphones that need no introduction, the Audio Technica ATH-m50, now with an X. These are the updated version of the ever so popular ATH-m50s, and they look almost exactly like the originals, but have a few subtle changes that make them a worthy successor of the infamous M50s. First, let's go over the design and the build quality. As I mentioned before, this is pretty much the exact same headphone, but you'll notice that there's now a port on the left ear cup for use with a detachable cable that we'll get into in just a second. Second is the model number embedded into the hinge of the ear cups. And that's about it for the changes as far as aesthetics go. Audio-Technica definitely didn't want to stray away from what was already working for them, thus so few changes. The overall look is a bit on the large side, but it doesn't give that feeling of being too big. They aren't my first choice to take with me outdoors because of the size, but I no longer think I'd completely rule them out like I did with the originals, and that's partially due to having a more portable cable. Although they may be a little large, that doesn't impact their portability at all. These fold up very well and make it quite easy to store or travel with. As far as build quality goes, this thing is tough. I've never been concerned with the durability of the originals, and the same goes for these. They can definitely withstand the beating and don't need any babying. It isn't made of any crazy material, but in hand you can feel how sturdy it is. Now let's talk a bit about comfort. This is an area you'll find a subtle but very helpful change. The material used for the ear cups have changed to a much softer pleather material, and I'm not sure what the ear cups of the originals were made of, but in comparison to the M50X, you'd think that it were made out of a tough paper material. Now, I've never even had the slightest issue with comfort with the M50s, but the M50X has a much nicer feel when being worn. The headband is also very well cushioned and can be adjusted to fit those with a larger than life head size. The M50X also come with a few accessories that give it a lot more flexibility. When you purchase a pair, you'll receive a 1/4 inch adapter, a 1.2 meter straight cable, a 3 meter straight cable, a 1.2 to 3 meter coiled cable, and a travel pouch. Although pretty small, the travel pouch can carry the M50X and a couple of the cables with no problem. The original M50s came with a coiled cable, and if you wanted something different, you had the M50S that featured a 3 meter straight cable. With the M50X, you can pick and choose which length works best for you. I'm very glad they included a 1.2 meter straight cable option because it makes the headphone quite a bit more portable. You no longer have to think about where you're putting the rest of your cable or worry about it dangling out of your pocket. And it was definitely made with mobile use in mind, and even the shape of the 3.5mm input is made to work with mobile devices and mobile device cases. Whereas the original had a pretty flat base around the input that didn't play well with mobile devices or their cases. The coiled and straight cables still feature the same design, however, but they clearly aren't meant for mobile use. You can line up the input that goes into the ear cups and lock it into place, which is great for those accidental yanks. However, that input is also smaller than the other, so you can't just insert any side. This also means that other detachable cables won't work with the M50X if you have any extra lying around. This is probably the only real flaw to the M50X, the proprietary cables, and possibly the lack of a remote control for your mobile device if that's important to you. But now let's finally talk about the sound quality. If you're familiar with the sound quality of the originals, not much has changed here, and that's a good thing. You get a very well-balanced sound with some great clarity, and if you're coming from a pair of muddy-sounding headphones, these are definitely going to be an eye-opener for you. They offer a great and balanced sound as they were made for monitoring and mixing. I love to use these when editing my videos and for casual music listening. They don't have a ton of bass, which is something I'm into, so they aren't my preferred cans for something like hip hop or dubstep, but I can still listen to those genres without any issue. I'm pretty confident in the sound experience you'll get in just about any genre outside of the ones that are really bass heavy. But don't get me wrong, this does have plenty of bass, but it just isn't head rattling, which isn't really a con to a lot of people, as it won't bleed into the other sounds from the music that you're listening to. Vocals come in very well, and even the smallest details are ever present, which is something that you want from monitor headphones. Overall, you'll get a very clean and full sound from the M50X, And if you're familiar with using your equalizer settings, you can easily tune these to sound just the way you want them. I highly recommend picking up a pair of the M50X if you don't own a pair already, but I don't think it offers enough to warrant upgrading from your originals, at least not based on sound alone. But if you do value having a shorter cable and having more comfortable ear pads, these just might be worth it. I know those two reasons, along with the great sound quality, has caused the M50X to move higher up my list of favorite headphones. The M50X retail for about $169 on Amazon, which is $50 more than the original currently, but if you don't already own a pair, I honestly think it's the better of the two to pick up. I love options, and the M50X provides just that. But of course, now I have to show you guys what they look like on. And time to show you what they look like on. So here it is from the front. You guys get a good look. Here it is from the side. And of course, top view. And when you're not using it, you want to just put it on your neck for a second. This is it. Like I said, it's a little on the large side, but it's up to you whether or not you care. And pretty much that's about it for this review, guys. I definitely do recommend these. I love these a lot more than I did the originals, and it's just the subtle changes that really help. So this is an A+ in my book. Definitely recommend this. And that's about it for this review, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, be the cool guy that hits the thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel for more content from me. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Till then, it's your average consumer. Peace.